Thank you. So we are ready with the next. Are we ready? So we are ready for the next panel discussion. We are moving quickly, but I believe we are running a little delayed. So I'll quickly move on to the next topic, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for the moment, it's a panel discussion. It's key trends that will shape the kids' entertainment scene. I repeat the topic for everybody once again. It's key trends that will shape the kids' entertainment scene. For this, I'll request Shomini Sridhara Paul, Senior Vice President, Hangama Digital Media Entertainment, to kindly come up on stage and join us over here. Thank you, ma'am. Wonderful to see you again. On that note, I'll request our speakers, Avni Bhanchawat, Vice President and Head Revenue, KC Global Media, Saurav Kumar, Founder and CEO, Punchun Kids and Vid Unit Media Private Limited, and Preeti Vyas, President, CEO, and Chief Storyteller, Amar Chitra Katha Private Limited. Give it up for all of them, ladies and gentlemen. Zor se tali. People over there at the back, come on, give it up. And just a quick announcement, we also had Shailaja, Saraswati and Sonam Pradhan who were supposed to join us, but unfortunately they can't due to certain personal reasons, so we will have to go ahead with the session without them. But of course, we'll miss them. On that note, moving on to you.
Thank you so much. I'm a little nervous right now because I think these kids were superb. Each one of them had golden words to share. हमें तो कोई ऐसा experience ही नहीं थी when you're growing up. But I think that's the beauty of where things are today, right? There's pearls of wisdom at any age. And, as adults, as kids, as senior citizens, there's always something to learn. Welcome to the panel, here with regards to what are the key trends that we see that will really change the kids' entertainment scene. I'm going to actually request each one of you to first just speak a little about the area of work that you're in and, your journey so far. And then I have a set of questions, but we'll take it from there. So, Preeti, let's start with you.
Hello, yeah, it's on. Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me here. My name is Preeti Vyas. I'm the President and CEO at Amar Chitra Katha Private Limited. We publish under two imprints. There's Amar Chitra Katha Comics and Tinkle Magazine. The company, I'm sure many of you would have, or all of us would have grown up reading these comics. So we are 57 years old. Tinkle is one of the oldest running children's magazines in the country. We are in our 44th year. We just published issue number 812.
Congrats.
Thank you. So yes, that's what we do. In addition to the comics in print, we also have a very vibrant digital presence. So we run 4 different apps. These are subscription-driven apps where we've seen close to 2 million subscribers. So that's been a really great journey for us in the last 3 or 4 years. Plus a lot of things happening in the transmedia space, whether it's licensing through board games or apparel or jigsaw puzzles, animation, live action. So a lot of things happening, and it's a very exciting time to be in the kids' content space. Difficult time as well, very challenging with so many options that children have today, but also a really exciting time.
I'm sure legacy plays a big role in this to keep it alive.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Saurav?
Hello, thank you very much. My name is Saurav Kumar. I am founder and CEO of Puntun Kids. Puntun Kids is one of India's biggest kids community on YouTube. We clock around 100 million views across our 30+ YouTube channels. We have 2 characters which is extremely popular, is Gattu and Chinky, and we follow 3 C's programming. First C stand for culture, second C stand for curiosity, and third C stand for curriculum. Apart from that, one of our key focus area is rather than building superheroes, we are trying to build real heroes. That's apart from Puntun Kids, I'm also founder of VidUnit. It's a data-driven creators platform where we do a lot of influencer-driven campaign for various brands.
Super. Avni?
Hi, my name is Avni Bhanchawat, and I head the commercial side for the company that I work for, which is KC Global Media Singapore. We are a Singapore-based network, and we have a bouquet of channel brands, which I guess some of you might be familiar with in India as well. So we have English entertainment channel AXN. We are into Japanese entertainment, and specifically why I've been asked to be on this panel, which is our Japanese anime brand, Animax, which we've recently actually also got to India a year ago. And then we have a Korean entertainment brand, One, and we have a Japanese drama and reality shows brand called Gem. So these are the 4 channel brands that are under KC Global Media, the company that I work for, and I head the commercial side of things for Southeast Asia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and now with Animax coming to India, India is our newest territory. So specifically about Animax, I think, you know, when Animax launched 2 decades ago, anime was often confused with regular animation. Anime is a very, very different genre in itself. It's originated in Japan, and Japanese anime art form is very unique, and it's based on manga, which is the Japanese comics. And it's really come of age now, wherein it started with the millennials going deeper into anime and the big IPs like Naruto, or, you know, those were the famous ones. However, I think over the last 4 years, and to our surprise, while we brought Animax back to India, is with the proliferation of OTT apps, streaming, and the huge overlap with gaming. So a lot of otakus, which is the Japanese anime fans, are also avid gamers. So gaming and anime sort of go hand in hand, and which is why animes actually become mainstream, even in India. Just to give some, you know, trivia, I think 10 years ago when Comic-Con started in India, I was reading somewhere that there were just 11 participants, and now it's spread across to multiple cities and over 200,000 cosplayers that attend these events. And by definition, otakus, you would not see them making reels, you would not see them promoting themselves. By definition, they are, you know, the nerds, the geeks, but they are very, very passionate fans and who live, breathe, eat, follow anime. And when we started talking to some of the platforms in India last year about bringing Animax back to India, I was so surprised that the top 4 or 5 OTT players that I spoke to, and all these players have very small content teams, there was at least one otaku in each of those teams. And you know, the oldest millennials, as we know, are now 40. And the youngest Gen Zers are now probably 10, so there's already a, you know, a Gen Y that is there, or whatever they're called.
Gen Alpha, I think.
Gen Alpha, yes, thank you for the correction. And anime has become mainstream. You know, they're not watching cartoons, they're not, you know, sort of, so especially, and I'm raising 2 boys. I have 2 teenage kids. And we've lived away from India for 14 years, and I was sharing with, you know, just before that one of the biggest comfort for me coming back to India and how my 14-year-old has connected with other teenagers at school, at our neighborhood, is actually anime, because they're all watching the same anime IPs and the titles. So, yeah.
I think your 14-year-old is very lucky because you seem so passionate about it. And the way you describe the whole thing, it's like as if there's Earth and there's anime. It's another planet altogether. So, you know, it's interesting because, you know, you, Preeti, have a legacy of a brand, you know, Tinkle, Amar Chitra Katha, and it's not just in India, of course, it's like global, right? And it's one of, I think we can call it the boomer brand, right? While sort of your, you know, you're pretty much started from YouTube, and I'm sure you've done different, you know, manifestations of it. And Avni, you know, is largely, I would say, omnipresent from an Animax perspective. How does it work when you have to deal with advertisers, right? Because the example that you gave, Preeti, we'll start with you. You've kind of extended the brand of Amar Chitra Katha and Tinkle into different avenues. Is that from the consumer point of view, or is it an advertising approach, or an advertiser approach, rather?
So we are very fortunate that we have managed to make that transition from being a brand for boomers. So we always say in the company that the parent is the one who opens the door for us. Parent is the one who takes a tinkle home or brings an ACK home because they have such a strong relationship with that brand. So they want their kids to get it. But once you give that product or that app to the child, that app has to do its own work because you can't force a child to read or consume content they don't like. There's no way it's possible. Even with a 4-year-old today, you can't force them to do anything they don't like. So it's really important for us to be able to create content that connects with today's generation of children. And I'm very happy and proud to report that today 87% of our revenues, we just closed the last financial year, 87% of our revenue comes from core content consumption. From individual
and this
subscribers.
is across different.
Yes. So it's very heartening to know that 87% of our revenue is spread across millions of individual customers who are paying money to read a story, whether it is to read in physical, read in digital, or to I'm not even talking of the merch sale. So it's still very, very strong readership. The advertising, the licensing, all the other collabs that we do, that adds up to just about 15%. So
I have a quick follow-up question to this. Considering there's 57 years of content, do you actually need to create fresh content for the new generation?
Absolutely. Because you can't expect a kid growing up in 2024 who is reading manga and watching anime to connect with something made in 1975. It's brutal, right?
But then how do you, I'm sure,
So we
I'm
are
50
creating-
now.
we are
I'm not going to connect with Amar Chitrakatha.
So we are creating a lot of new content. So at Amar Chitrakatha at its peak in the 80s, 90s, they used to do one new comic a month, which was a 32-pager, right? So roughly, you might remember one new edition coming out every month. That was roughly 400 pages a year. Last year, we did about 2,500 new pages of content. So the pace of new content creation is faster than ever before in our history. So we do have the nostalgia crowd, people like you and me in our 40s, 50s, who do want the collectors, the nostalgia, who want to have the complete collection, who have that. But at the same time, children are reading what we're publishing. Now we have a lot of new characters. So while Supandi and Shambhu are still very popular, we have a Wing Star, we have a Defective Detectives, we have the Yog Yodhas. We have a lot of new characters who are rating very, very high.
Superb. How old is your YouTube channel, and what's been the journey in terms of content evolution, keeping the advertiser in mind?
I started Puntun Kids almost 5.5 years ago. Earlier, I used to work with Alibaba. I was director in Indian market. I quit and I started our own company. It is still a bootstrap company. Puntun Kids, when I thought of launching, in fact, creating content, at that point of time, kids as a category on YouTube was the most performing category in terms of advertising. So that was one of the reasons I thought of getting into the kids content. When I decided to get into the kids content, then I thought what type of content I should create, how to make inroads, right? Then I realized most of the companies at that point of time, they were importing content from outside India, right? And those who were creating content within India, they were creating content around Pari ki kahaniyan or Jadoo ki kahaniyan on those stuff, which I felt was not really helping either the parents or the kids.
Especially in the 3 C's you had in mind.
Absolutely. The 3 C's came slightly later, right? At that point of time, even we didn't have the clarity. We only had the clarity that we need to create something which can add value to the parents and their kids' life, Then only they will allow their kids to consume the content. Then only the kids will coming back to our channel and watch the videos. And that's how our journey started. Also, we were very, very clear from the first day that whatever we do, right, whatever content we create, will ensure the kids will get the real values, and they do not inspire to become a superhero. They try to become or want to become a real hero. That was very, very clear from in our mind.
And in a way, kind of be comfortable in their own skin.
Absolutely, yes,
Right.
yes.
So, Avni, in one sense, you're dealing with a niche category. I mean, animation or anything to do with kids itself is considered to be niche in the GEC space, and there you're in Animax or anime. Is that actually an opportunity with advertisers, or does it become challenging?
Well, definitely, but as Preeti was saying, I think bulk of our revenue, and I wear two hats. I head the subscription side of things, and I do head the advertising side of things as well. So bulk of our revenue, almost 70-75%, comes from subscription, you know, which is the reason why when we came to India, subscription-based on-demand service, you know, we started with Prime Video channels, we're on Tata Binge, and we have a few more coming, but we also have advertising-supported streaming, which is on Jio TV as well as on Samsung TV Plus. So it is an opportunity. However, like you rightly said, I think opportunity also in terms of the very wide range of demographics that anime serves. So we start, you know, we never promote ourselves. I mean, that was actually one of the biggest perception challenges that anime had in India, that it's a kids content. It's not kids content, actually. There are titles, there are IPs that are very strong with the kids, but I think the youngest anime viewers, I mean, by age definition, would be 12 years and beyond. So we have tweens and teens as our core segment, but that audience segment is actually anywhere from 13 onwards to 34, 35, or even 40. So it's a very loyal base and a very wide demographic. Coming back to the kids segment, which is the tweens and the teens, I think firstly, the Japanese studios, the IP owners, they're very, very protective of not commercializing. However, because of that, there's so much of sanctity around the IPs that they have, you know, broken all kinds of records. I mean, we know even in India, you know, how big Demon Slayer was or One Piece was, how big Naruto remains to be till date, or Haikyuu. So at Animax, we do a lot of sports anime. And I do have a big advertiser base. Not so much in India, but you know, Taiwan, for example, is our biggest market. So some of the natural fit is online gaming. So we do have, and we've seen that Nintendo launching anime-based games and becoming big. You know, I think the Dragon Ball, and so online gaming becomes a very viable segment of advertisers. But then also, you know, this is the most evasive demographic. I talk to, because of our other brands, we talk to a whole set of marketers and advertisers, and they just don't know how to talk to teenagers, right?
I think that's a universal problem.
Right? As parents also, I don't know how to talk to teenagers. But then anime becomes a very, very, if you're actually not, as a marketer or a brand lead, not looking at anime as a segment, I would say that you're missing out on a huge, you know, fandom that is around anime. I think I was, just last month, I think I saw what McDonald's has done in India. They rebranded the whole Linking Road store as McDonald's, which is actually how McDonald's is represented in the anime world. And the whole outlet was rebranded with, you know, the popular manga characters, menus, and it was beautiful. And McDonald's is not even a super premium, you know, it is.
Yeah, it's a family brand. Yeah.
So that should tell you about how deeply entrenched or penetrated the anime segment is.
Okay, I'm going to ask a quick question here. How many of you watch anime content or are familiar with the term anime? Okay. So you're really educating a lot of people here today. Okay, great. So, you know, India is, I think, officially about 37 languages. How much of that stress is on you with each of your IPs? Like, it has to be multilingual, or, you know, I mean, I think when I grew up, I was reading in English. Now, can you get away with just that?
We still first always create in English, and then it's translated to different languages. Tinkle largely remains English only. But Amanchita Katha is in multiple languages, multiple Indian as well as international languages. So in India, we do all the major ones, Hindi, Marathi, Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu. Recently, we've done Urdu, so the comic is back to front. It's very, very interesting. We have recently done Manipuri, Kashmiri, so a lot of languages. There is demand. There is demand because the need to connect with culture, to connect with your past is a very visceral need, right? And with the kind of exposure today's children have, I think parents want that connect to remain strong. There's a lot of anxiety around it that my kid does not know anything about my own culture. So, there's a very interesting way to look at language, which is language of work and language of leisure, right? So when you're, for work, we use English. When it comes to education, everybody wants their kids to be, even, my driver, my helper at home, their kids go to an English medium school because they look at that is the way to professional success or to getting out of poverty or whatever it is, right? So language of work is definitely English. But the language of leisure, the way your soul becomes happy, the way your heart gets happy, is when you watch a Bollywood film, right? Is when you listen to music you listen to Arijit Singh, right? So you want that leisure, that entertainment comes from your own language, from your mother tongue a lot of times. So both have a place. So when it comes to parents or schools buying, for example, they will only buy English.
Right.
But we are seeing a huge demand, for other languages as well.
That's amazing. I think I remember the days when this was about 5-6 years back, when even people could be able to use their phones to chat in their language. That was considered an innovation.
That's right.
Now all of these things are hygiene.
That's right.
Sort of for you, when you talk about creating the characters and basing your content around that, are they multilingual or do they speak in Hindi or what's the approach?
We create content in 10 languages, Hindi, English, Marathi, Gujarati, Bengali, Tamil, Telugu.
The same characters speak in all these languages?
Yes, they do, right? Originally we create content in Hindi, but later on what we decided, we also realized that apart from dubbing the content into various regional or international languages, we also need to create content in their own language. When I say in their own language, the content which is closer to that region, right? And for example, we decided to produce a content around Onam festival. We decided to produce a content around Chhatrapati Shivaji ki kahaniyan, right? And during those videos, right, we originally produced and in that particular language, and the entire background and the animation were done in such a way that it represents that particular territory's regional's culture, and that helped us to propel our growth in those languages as well.
Superb. We were talking earlier, Avni, about how anime is being dubbed in Indian languages, and yet, like, I see my son when he's watching it in Japanese with English, and really wonder what is he understanding, but he's glued to it. So, do you really see the need for dubbing, or how do you look at multilingual?
Right, so welcome to the world of anime. So, with Animax, we are present across 14 different territories, India included. And I think that is like the one learning we've had in the last 1 year that we've been here, what sets India apart with the rest of the world. So, Animax is not a new brand. We've been around for 2 decades. And in rest of the world, the other 13 territories, we have localization in 6 different languages. So in Bahasa, in Chinese, in Thai, in Vietnamese. However, all through the years, our biggest insight has been that when people are watching anime, they're watching the original Japanese language. That is the beauty of, it lends itself to the story that you're watching, and then you're reading subtitles, right? 20 years ago, I think, it was the other Hungama TV that brought kids anime to India. And I know my older one was like 2 or 3 years old, and there was Doraemon was the rage. And I had forbidden him for watching because it was such bad Hindi and such foul language that it was banned in our house. And that was my memory of how anime was treated in India. But coming back, I think all around us we see how hugely popular anime has become. And yes, we do believe that there is merit in India in sort of localizing it in maybe, not all of the 36, but the top 4 or 5 languages because it does give, especially for the ad-supported service that we have on JioTV and on Samsung TV Plus, we do see the merit in sort of dubbing it in a local language, but then it has to be done right without losing the essence of the IP.
Superb. So our previous panel, had kidfluencers, and obviously content with kids and all of that became a big pie of the discussion. But the other aspect of what we're seeing in terms of how content is getting consumed today is vertical format, right? And do you see kids' content going into that kind of space? I mean, in the sense, so definition of kids format, vertical format is not just, the dimensions, but everything in terms of duration, in terms of the way it's created, how do you see Amar Chitrakatha playing into that?
So we are experimenting with a lot of things. We recently tried, the web comics, the vertical scrolling one. So it's a single scroll that you keep moving on. A lot of niches are there, but I think when it comes to Amar Chitrakatha, people don't think of Amar Chitrakatha as a comic. It's not that you're reading it. It's being read if you look at like comic book companies that are abroad in the US, it's a comic book culture. Now, what you see on Big Bang Theory, for example, it's the comic book geeks who want to read comics. But in India, Amar Chitrakatha is not a comic. Amar Chitrakatha is Amar Chitrakatha. It's a way to read stories. So there will be people who will not read any other comics in life and then only read Amar Chitrakatha. So I think in that sense, the soul just remains the story. And we keep experimenting with different formats and, keep trying different niches. But the hero is still the story.
So you're still trying it out?
Still trying, yes.
Okay. Saurabh, has Puntun got into the YouTube Shorts rage?
Yes, we started. Initially, we were not ready to launch Shorts as a format, but we realized this is what YouTube as a platform is pushing.
You had to succumb.
Right. So then we adopted, we changed our strategy. We decided to produce both long format as well as short format content. Also re-edit the long format, to make it multiple shorts format content. And it again helped us, in terms
And
of
where do you see larger watch time?
the watch time will always come from the longer format of the
Oh, it
content.
does?
It
Great.
will always come from the longer. And also, even if we, on shorts, even if we get 10 million views, we hardly get any money, any revenue from it, right? But it's the platform which is pushing the short format content. And because of that, yes, we are changing the strategy. We are creating shorter format. We are creating crisp content. And we had launched Puntun Kids Spanish around 6 months ago. It had very little traction, But then we decided to change the strategy and we started producing Spanish content, shorts, Spanish in shorts, And within last 3 months, we got around 100,000 subscribers. Right?
So I was just
that
going to
shows-
ask you, so I can imagine that Shorts helps you in increasing the subscribers, while longer content helps you with the revenue. Am I to assume that?
Yes, I think, yes, I would agree with this statement because as a business owner, I need to always strike a balance between the growth as well as the revenue of the channel. And when we kept on creating good content, long format content, the growth was not amazing, That the moment we started creating the short format, we got the growth. So we need to go with the platform's features and their focus area and change our strategy and create content accordingly.
Yeah,
Right.
we've had the same experience, what you just said, right? Like the short form content is what gets people interested in your content and they want to...
So it's like a teaser, it's like a trailer.
Yeah, it's a sampler and then, that helps you convert them into...
Right.
But the revenue, of course, comes from the full subscriptions.
Understood.
Definitely.
Avni, your model is largely distribution-led. So you're pretty much going where the content can be served to an existing format or an existing user base. So does this ever come into your scheme of things, or you don't see, the vertical format of any benefit?
So, anime as a category is both to develop an IP or a show, it's years and years of work. a lot of investment, both in terms of time, resources, money. So it's not very easy to replicate it, right? It's not something that that can easily transcend to a user generated. It can never. However, everything that sits along with it, like gaming, live sports, Animax is big on sports anime. And there's so many different categories of anime. There's romance, there's sci-fi, there's action adventure, there's all the mythical stuff. And there's a huge amount of fandom around it. These guys don't want anything to be shortened or short or sort of gimmicky. They don't. They are just so deeply involved, but they will go on talking about it. Right? So our verticalization, even as and we don't, sort of produce any of these IPs or own them, we curate them, right? To best serve the audience or the market that we are working in. But we do look at, the vertical screen in a way to, A, content discovery, B, to better engage with these communities, and C, one of the biggest challenges that faces my industry particularly is on piracy, right? Because all these guys want it fast. The newest season of Black Clover is out, and they would want to see it, and then that's where all the notorious stuff happens on YouTube, right? So we sort of stay away from that, but we do then reach out to them through the vertical stream in terms of the fan communities, the merchandise, or the actually not merchandise, actually the events, the fan events that are created.
Sure.
Yeah.
How many of you are from brands or from agencies representing brands? Okay, we have 2 people there. Okay. So I wanted to understand from you, Preeti. Do you all work with brands?
We do. We do.
And how does that, collaboration happen? Like, what takes focus or what takes precedence? Or who is the one who decides कि ये हो सकता है?
So there is white books that are in place for the brands. There are very strong guidelines on what we will do and what we won't do. But within those confines, there's lots of things that are possible. So for us, because it's children, and although Amar Chitakatha and Tinkle are read by older age groups as well, from a design perspective, when we create, it's for an 8 to 14-year-old child, 7 to 14-year-old child. So it needs to be, we will never do something which promotes any kind of graphic violence, graphic themes. Anything which is adult in that sense would not. We were just joking the other day that in 44 years of Tinkle, nobody's ever died. Right? People fall, they go unconscious, there'll be stars above their heads, but koi mara nahi hai, It's been good. So the kind of brands, for example, last year we worked with Google for their Be Internet Awesome program, where they wanted to promote internet safe behavior for children. So we created 5 comics for them, we animated them as well. And that was a huge deal. It went on for the whole year, very successful. A great partnership. Recently, we collaborated with Project Naveli, which is run by Navya Nanda. And, we created a comic book for her, which was talking about the advocacy of all the work that they do and how. So those are really interesting projects.
So I'm
We've
imagining
licensed Supandi to
Yeah.
Tata Mutual Fund, because if Supandi can understand mutual funds, anybody can, So he's been that's been a license, that's been a collaboration that's been going on for 9 years.
That's
It's been
funny.
renewed 9 years. It's been that successful for them. So our characters lend themselves very well to various brands. Tata Soulful is another one which has been going on for a long time. Yeah.
But tell me something. For example, if I'm a brand and I want to be integrated into the script
Yes.
or the story, or like what we call as in-film branding,
Right.
how do you limit a time frame to that? Because the moment you put it out,
Yeah.
it's for posterity.
Right.
So how does one work on a revenue model or a cost structure there?
Yeah, so that kind of story within a brand or the brand within a story, we do that only in Tinkle magazine, which is a periodical. So it has an issue date on it. Those will get reprinted eventually, but then the branded story will not get reprinted. From the archives, only the IP which is ours will go into the digest and the double digest and things like that. So a branded content like a Tata Soulful story or a 2 Yum was a great partnership we did last year. Those will appear only in that month's issue. And when I say that month's issue, it's in print as well as digital and across all the,
Yeah,
so it's
but
a
once it's
360.
printed, it's there for life.
It is, but then a magazine has, like an India Today or any kind of periodical,
Right.
it has a limited shelf life.
Understood. Sort of when it comes to you with brands, because obviously the moment you have a growing subscriber base, everybody wants to come to you, right? How does it work? Because I know for a fact that there are limitations for kids' content when it comes to brands with the COPA rule and all of that. But how does it work for you? And
So there are many big brands have signed pink passports. That means they're not supposed to target kids, right? Because of that, many opportunities we have lost. However, there are many various other brands as well who have shown interest, and we have collaborated with them to create branded content with them. There's a brand called 3D Bear. It's based in Finland. When they decided to enter into Indian market, they reached out to us, and then we decided to create content for them. Initially, we decided to do only on one channel, that is Puntun Kids Hindi, and the duration of the integration was around 20 to 30 seconds. And they got amazing response, and they decided to continue the campaign for another 3 months and do it on multiple languages in various other channels as well. So like many other brands, when they come to us, we try to understand what is their objective, how it will help the kids as well, whether those brands are safe for the kids to use or not. We evaluate those, and then we decide whether we have to do it. For example, one of the chips brand came to us a few years ago and we said no. My team was like, no, we should do that. We should generate revenue out of it. But then we thought, right, that's the whole idea when we decided to create this channel, launch this channel. So we said no to them. But having said that, there are various other products and the brands which are useful to the kids and their families. When they come to us, we definitely collaborate with them. And there are various formats which we do, whether it is pre-roll or integrated or display, right? We work according to the budget and we create the content.
Super. I have one question for you, and then I think we'll have to do like a quick rapid fire kind of thing. Again, coming back to the fact that your business model is more in terms of SWOD and possibly AWOD, do you have an opportunity to do branded content?
Yes, so we do, and we do it very smartly, and also with very good ROI for the brand, which is why they keep coming back to us. But most of it sits around experiences, So it's not actually commercializing the IP or, making the character do something, because we simply can't, right? They're massively protected by the IP owners. However, if, most of the people in this room know anything about Gen Zs, they would know that Gen Zs, there's a resurgence on spending on experiences, which is why you see...
No, that's not just Gen Zs, that's all of us.
All
now.
right, which is why...
Post-COVID phenomenon.
Actually, it started, maybe about 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
COVID just amplified
That's
it a
right.
lot. Whether it is live sports, whether it is concerts, you do see people and that's a huge opportunity for brands. And it's the same thing with anime. Most of the, again, the people in the front, they would know that the big anime IPs have their own original soundtracks. There is a whole music industry that is on anime. So we make those experiences possible for brands. So we will do, make flyaway contests, and we have worked with chips brands. So most of our advertisers in Southeast Asia, whether it is Taiwan, Malaysia, Singapore, India, we are yet to start, and hopefully we would. We do bring these experiences on to brands, and that then, or cosplay events, where cosplayers are dressing up as their favorite anime character, and that becomes absolutely beautiful content for brands.
Superb. All right, quick question to end it. For you, Preeti. Where do you see Amar Chitragatha and Tinkle go in the next 5 years?
Everywhere that kids are consuming content, that's where we will be. We'll keep making new stories, and keep connecting with the joke in the companies that if there's a way to stream content from our server to your brain, we will do that as well. So
Yeah,
we're platform agnostic. Whatever platform content is being consumed on, that's where we need to be.
Elon Musk is doing that only, no?
Absolutely.
Okay, Saurav, where do you see Puntun going in the next 5 years, and what's your long-term plan?
At Puntun, we had recently launched our e-commerce business, D2C brand under Puntun Kids itself, where we are selling fun learning material, toys, and we are now getting into the electronic gadgets and all of those which are useful to the kids, And we do have plans to launch our own gaming applications. We are working on building IPs, right, which we can take it to the OTT platforms. And this is how we would like to build it. And we want to expand into various other regional languages and global international languages.
Super. Avni, next 5 years.
Wow, in our world, 5 years is actually pretty long. But I think immediately, and I'll specifically talk from an India perspective, for Animax, I think our vision really is if there are about 500 million odd viewers of streaming, and from, if I remember the data correctly, about 13% of these viewers are already consuming anime, 60 minutes per day, right? Which is roughly about, let's say, under about 60 million viewers. We want to make sure Animax reaches out to the 60 million fan community that already exists in India, right? And I think I was reading something, and we did all of this homework before we got Animax back to India, right? Because it's a lot of effort. Jet Synthesis, I think, had done this research where they said 83% of the surveyed population preferred anime over animation. And that's a big number for this country. So we want, and we are not the only ones, there are a lot of global players, local players who are looking to grow this segment, and Animax wants to be at the forefront.
I was just going to say that. I mean, with something growing so fast, you have to look behind. There might be a whole line already started.
Oh, we've already started the ripple, there are anime studios.
Comic-Con Mumbai this year was full of anime.
Yes.
All the cosplay was anime.
Yes.
We were the only, Indian, really large Indian
Standing strong.
there,
So Animax
It was
wants to
amazing.
lead that
It was amazing.
revolution, and the next time we mention this, I want at least, if not all, because honestly anime is not for everyone, at least 70% of this room to raise their hand
My
up.
son tried, I couldn't understand it, so I
Oh
stopped.
my God, join the club. But as a gatekeeper, I had no option. When my 10-year-old started watching Naruto,
Right.
I had to watch it with him.
Makes sense. Thank you, Preeti. Thank you, Saurav. Thanks,
Thank you.
Avni.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you.